That's how it was for blue comedy. If you were a comedian that cussed, you were ridiculed by the mainstream comedy geist. That would be like me being on Joe Rogan. Joe don't want me on there. I need to be on Shannon. Joe got 6 comedians that never been funny. He want to push out. But that's really how it is.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Big shout out to my regulars. We're around 70,000 subscribers strong in just under 6 months, and we're pushing hard to 100K. So if you haven't jumped on board yet, now is the time to do it. But listen, this is what we're doing today. By now, most of you watching this know what went down with Katt Williams on Shannon Sharpe's podcast, where he called out Joe Rogan for pushing 6 comedians that have never been funny. And this week, I've been waiting for the Brogan comedy brats to out themselves and own up to their fake success, but that's not what we got. Instead, we got Andrew Schulz completely ignoring what Katt Williams said about him, even though the flagrant episode was almost 2.5 hours long and featured Katt in the thumbnail and title. He basically discussed everything except that brutal accusation. Then we had Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen on The Fighter and the Kid trying to convince us that they've never appeared on JRE in the capacity of a comedian and only go on there as fight companions to talk about UFC and boxing. So let's just get this straight for a moment. Brendan has had the most appearances on JRE out of anybody else, and granted, most of his appearances are on the fight companion episodes, but JRE was the very podcast that platformed his career as a comedian. I mean, we've all seen the intervention clips and all of that, so I appreciate that not even Brendan considers himself to be a real comedian, but he's not getting out of this that easily. Mind you, he proceeded to fangirl over Katt in an attempt to find affection with him, which almost made me physically sick. But what about Tom and Bert? Well, we'll have to wait 2 to 3 months for their banked episodes from this week to be published before we can hear their hot take on the whole Katt Williams situation, so you'll just have to sit tight and stay tuned for that. So then I thought to myself, if the Brogan comedy brats are trying to hide in plain sight and avoid the heat, and if Katt himself didn't actually identify the 6 never-been-funny comedians he was referring to, I kind of feel like it's my duty to identify them individually and explain exactly who they are and why they ended up in Katt's crosshairs. Now, if you're new to this channel, this video is basically going to be a fast track into becoming a channel regular. By the end, you'll be equipped with the bare bone basics on the Brogan comedy brats, how to identify them and their quirks and features, and for my regulars, this will be a good opportunity to brush up on your theory and test your knowledge. Plus, I'll make some more serious comments at the very end of the video for you. So with all that in mind, let's get straight into it. Coming in at number 6 on Katt Williams' list of never-been-funny comedians is Ari Shaffir.
As I know, there's always a lot of hate, pain in the world, and there's always a bunch of terrible stories. And every once in a while, there's a good story. A good story comes out. The guy who got away with got his today. Kobe Bryant is gone. I'm here in Charlotte, the home of the team that originally drafted him. Maybe he wouldn't have put that chick in Denver if he had stayed in Charlotte with the Hornets. But anyway,
took a lie detector test and passed the lie detector test, saying that you do not regret your whatever it was, a tweet or a story or something about Kobe.
You got to be true to your stand-up, man.
I mean, dude, it's insane.
It's just like, oh, I lost some celebrity I've never met. Oh, Michael Jackson died. I'm so sad. You.
Right.
Just keep it to yourself.
But in the immediate wake of the Kobe thing, you did go pretty quiet, for a moment there.
Dude, I mean, I guess they were using my wall on Twitter to dox my friends and managers and shit. So they were on that tweet, they'd be like, hey, here's his manager's address, here's her phone number, go her up. Wow. And so eventually they're like, oh, Jesus, you guys are out of control.
Man.
Yeah, but you're classy people, Laker fans. Classy people.
I'd like to thank Ari and his people for this beautiful weather. Thank you. Ari used to host the show This Is Not Happening, a show named after his comedy career. Ari is edgy and shocking, which is a really cool thing for a 50-year-old guy to be. Isn't it cool? Ari, it's sad to see you failing like this. Ari is having a tough time selling tickets. which is sad.
At the ripe old age of 49 years old, Ari Shaffir looks like he's in his late 60s. Equipped with a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature, Ari has become known for spiking his friends' drinks without their knowledge, trolling dead celebrities in the immediate aftermath of their death, and having a stupid face. He also assaulted a young Asian boy. But by far his biggest achievement to date is his regular appearance on Joe Rogan's Protect Our Parks podcast, which is up to its 10th episode. So basically, Rogan and Ari watch Mark Norman and Shane Gillis be funny for 5 hours, and then young Jamie uploads it to Spotify and they call it a podcast. I'm not going to lie though, they're probably up there with some of my favorite JRE episodes. There's just something about Shane Gillis bullying Ari Shaffir for hours on end that turns me on. What are you going to do? I should also say, though, that Ari recently stopped doing his own podcast, which was called Skeptic Tank, in June of last year, which, in my opinion, was an absolute boss move. I think more of the Brogan comedy brats should cancel their podcasts and disappear. And just so you're fully aware of just how much of a terrible person Ari really is, this is what he tweeted out on the day that Kobe Bryant passed away with his daughter in a tragic helicopter crash. Kobe Bryant died 23 years too late today. He got away with R-word because all the Hollywood liberals who attacked comedy enjoy rooting for the Lakers more than they dislike R-word. Big ups to the hero who forgot to gas up his chopper. I hate the Lakers. What a great day. Hashtag F the Lakers. This is coming from the guy who spiked his friends' drinks without their permission. Hey, talk about consent. And apparently that's comedy, according to Ari. In fact, it was so funny that the New York Comedy Club cancelled his show after receiving threats about hosting Ari's show. At the time, a representative for the club confirmed that we're no longer working with him anymore, and shortly thereafter his talent agency dropped him as a client. Following the backlash, Ari switched his Twitter account to private and posted a long statement on Instagram that read, "Every time a beloved celebrity dies, I post some horrible stuff about them. It's just a joke. I don't really hate any of the people. I'm not looking to hurt anyone mourning a loved one, just looking to post some inappropriate jokes for my fans. I've never made fun of the kids on the helicopter. They're not celebrities. Kids dying like that is horrible." Anything for a laugh, hey Ari? But speaking of deleting tweets, coming in at number 5 is former Fat Slob, Chief Executive Officer and President of YMH Studios, Tom Segura.
Here's the thing, if you're still mad about this, just know that it's your mindset and you're thinking like a loser, but you don't have to.
You don't.
You can change the way you think, but you have to accept the way you're thinking right now is not going to get you anywhere. You're being bitter, you're being petty, you're insecure, you're not confident, and you can change that, but you have to be proactive. I was bothered because I don't like hearing the excuses. What it extends to also, it reminds me of, to me, this has a direct correlation also with health and fitness. I want to work out, and then you go, yeah, but
there's a but.
There's always a but. I'm tired, or this is, I don't feel like it today. Like, there's always an excuse, right?
Yeah.
Dude, the courage of people on the internet is
of course. And they don't want
unbelievable
any of this.
Nah, dog. Show them. Show them what happens.
What's up, dog? You don't want this.
Nuts, man.
I'll give you my hobbies right now.
Okay.
So I definitely enjoy like watching movies, things like that, relaxing at the house. I work out almost every day. I would say I'm an auto enthusiast. I like cars. I like going to the track with them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting my pilot's license, so I've been flying somewhat regularly. It's hard with the tour, but the tour is over, so I've been working on doing that. And so that's kind of the hobbies that I have outside of the home, which is, you spend most of your time at home.
When are you going to buy another? What kind of car you have?
What kind?
You have cars?
Yeah,
How many cars you got? You all right?
Yeah.
You don't want to tell me?
No, I don't know.
Are you Seinfeld cars?
No.
Tom Segura's claim to fame is breaking every bone in his body whilst attempting a layup. After leaving the ground momentarily, Tom was brutally assaulted by the wooden gym floor, leaving him with a long road to recovery after requiring surgery. But this would end up being a wake-up call for Tom. During his convalescence, Tom decided it was time to get in shape, and so after seeking out Papa Rogan's advice, Tom employed a personal trainer, bought an ice bath, and pretended to meditate, resulting in an incredible transformation that saw him transition from a 40-year-old overweight neckbeard to a fit 65-year-old man. However, there was a time when Tom Segura was actually funny, but after losing 5 pounds, becoming buddies with Andrew Tate, and doing a few too many laps in his custom Porsche 911 GT3, Tom forgot how to be funny and became a full-blown male Karen. In October of last year, Tom was forced to check his bag by a TSA agent at the airport and was so offended by the hold-up to his busy schedule that he went on a 2-day Twitter meltdown, calling out and abusing the female TSA agent, dropping C-bombs left, right and center, and attacking anyone who replied in support of the agent by labeling them as poor. You see, Tom's all about that killer mindset. He believes anyone can achieve anything as long as they change their attitude and stop thinking like losers. But Tom would soon have a change of mindset and delete every single tweet from October in an act of self-cancellation that left most of us scratching our heads, given he's such an outspoken critic of comedians being cancelled. It turns out that no one is better at cancelling comedians than themselves. And speaking of comedians who should cancel themselves, coming in at number 4 is the 40-year-old virgin Andrew Schultz.
Why are you sweating so much? Because I look like with that haircut. I can't take you serious.
Listen.
You're like the guy in the low-budget was a horror movie?
No, it's not. But
No. Drama.
Here's what we do, bro. Maximize profits and cut costs.
What is the cost cut? Oh, you don't have to pay for ads. You guys are the ads.
Bingo.
It's the Tesla model.
Yeah.
Elon never put an advertisement on TV once.
Bingo.
He is the marketing. So your whole marketing budget is you guys, and nobody can influence better than you guys can. So you save the hundreds of millions. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's genius. Whoever owns Gatorade, we don't know who they are, so they can't be out there. They're not wrestling. They're not on podcasts. They're not boxing. They're not creating news. Like, as annoying as this whole thing with Dylan is, there's still Prime attached to every aspect of it.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
One of them is about to be passed out.
Try one of these.
What is this? That's a weed. I'm good.
It's not weed. It's a Zyn.
It's nicotine.
Oh, hell no.
No.
You're going to be hooked. I'm good.
It's not about a hook.
You won't get hooked.
Hell no. I'm good.
It's like a dip. Just try it.
No.
Will you just try it?
I got addictive personality for real.
This is not going to make you addicted.
No. Like, I have a really addictive, you see, whatever you're doing right there, you're going to see me like with a mouthful of acorns, my nigga. We're not doing this. You're not about to go get me like, nah, we're not doing this.
Just try it.
Nah, I can't do it, brother.
You can literally take it out a second afterwards. You're not going to feel anything.
Hell no. Hell
just
to the
try
no.
one.
No, I can't do it, brother. I can't do it, bro.
Just try the white boy for one. Why are you so afraid? We drank Hennessy the whole time. We finished a whole.
No, I get it. Andrew, I can't do it.
That's so funny.
Yo, I am like, I'm an addict. One thing I've realized.
How many fluid ounces is it? Maybe we could do the math.
I can't do it.
Why not just try one?
No, because I'm going to be addicted.
You're not going to be addicted. It's
addicted.
such a stupid thing to think.
Andrew's biggest achievement is selling his comedy special Infamous to his fans via his website and then putting it up on YouTube for free a month later. He's also known for starting one of the biggest comedy podcasts in the world called Flagrant, in which he sits around with his buddies, slapping their legs while speaking in a fake accent, and occasionally has an epiphany over something that most of us would consider to be simply common knowledge. But he's also known for harassing his guests, whether it's speaking over them, interrupting them and cutting them off, or even just showing a complete lack of interest in anything they have to say. He's mastered the art of swiveling in his chair like a toddler with his knickers in a knot, instead of just sitting normally like a grown man. He also has a stupid haircut. Interestingly though, Schultz is one of the only Brogan comedy brats to have never sold a stand-up comedy special to a streaming service. He's most well known for his 2020 TV series titled Schultz Saves America, which was 4 15-minute episodes taken from a bunch of videos he recorded for social media during the pandemic. The episodes have different names, and it's basically just him sitting in front of a camera doing YouTube videos, stylized as a comedy newscast similar to something you'd see on The Daily Show. And so at the young age of 40 years old, Schultz is one of the younger Brogan comedy brats, giving him plenty of time to release his very own Netflix stand-up comedy special, because as we all know, ain't nobody buying one off his website ever again. But speaking of Netflix comedy specials, not only does our next brat have 3 of them under his belt, he also has his very own movie, which failed miserably at the box office, only to be saved by Netflix, who bought it to make him stop crying. You guessed it, number 3 on Katt's list of never been funny Brogan comedians is the man, the machine, Bert Kreischer.
Can you just be Like,
I can't
just be and
can't.
just enjoy the day.
Leanne said to me the other day, she goes, let's sit on the porch and read a book. I go, read a book?
Yeah.
About me? You want me to read my book about me? I'll do that. Am I in Tom's book? I'll read his book. I'm not going to sit there and read a Huck Finn novel.
Yeah.
I was like, I just don't get it. You're not as fat as the internet says. And I was like, huh? He's like, oh, there's a Reddit thread about like an over-under on when you die. And by the way, that death thing is very real. I get emotional thinking about this. Maybe just a couple times if people, when I'm gone, people just go like, man, it would be so much cooler if Bert was here. Like, God, we'd have so much fun. Like, wouldn't it be great if Bert was here and he just walked in with a bottle of champagne and a crazy story, or like, I just like. What's up, brother?
Are you a YouTuber?
No.
Streamer?
No, I'm just a comedian.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hi, can you tell us a joke?
Yeah, when I was 22 years old, I got involved with the Russian Mafia. How's that?
I don't really get it.
I'm trying to think of a child-friendly joke I have. I don't know. I don't got one for you.
Oh, I just wanted
Take
to
care,
ask
brother.
I just want to ask if you were a YouTuber or anything. Cause...
No.
Oh, okay.
Just
Bye.
a comedian.
All right.
Sorry to let you down, brother. Have a good one.
I've watched it 10 times.
Bert single-handedly redefined the comedy genre by introducing contemporary art into his act. He recently crapped his pants on stage, wiped himself with a white t-shirt, and then held it up for his audience to see. Up until now, to experience this type of self-expression, you'd have to visit a modern art gallery in New York. But Bert continues to redefine comedy off the stage as well. He's mastered the art of overexposure. Take, for example, his recent appearance on the Ed Milet Show, which I covered in detail in my previous video. Bert thought he'd help promote his podcast appearance by posting a clip on Twitter. There were a grand total of 6 replies to this tweet. Here are 4 of them. Remember that guy who always took his shirt off, made up ridiculous stories, was loud and obnoxious, made everything about him? I wish he was still around, said no one ever. Who was that? Brent Chrysler? Never heard of him. Wow, what a effing ego on this guy. Literally the most overrated, unfunny comic out. Hard pass. Ouch, that last one must be Katt Williams' burner account. And so Bert leaves almost nothing to the imagination, whether it's taking his clothes off at every opportunity or turning every podcast appearance into a therapy session. Bert's narcissism has gotten so bad that when he has a guest on his own podcast, they end up interviewing him. He's like the only child of his divorced parents, Joe Rogan and Tom Segura, except neither of them want custody. When Bert isn't out drinking, he likes to enjoy other things like drinking in his living room or in the spa, sometimes even in bed. His solution to his drinking problem wasn't to quit. Instead, he decided to get healthy, lose a bit of weight, and start exercising, just so he could become healthy enough to keep drinking. Bert's 12-step program involves walking from the fridge to the couch and then back to the fridge again for another beer. He's the type of guy to wear the shirt "Rehab is for quitters," unironically. But jokes aside, well, yeah, that's pretty much it. Bert is jokes aside. And it's probably about time we moved on to the second last brat, because this guy really is no joke. His name is Bryan Callen.
I loved, remember Rogan like really got on your ass because you're talking about like how you beat everybody in the whole world up?
Yeah, but I was making a joke. That's what they don't realize.
I got reminded of
Brendan and I were I was going into a bit because I was going, and I'll f you up. And he goes, oh, this is where Bryan thinks he's tough. And I go, you cut me off. And I just saw that and realized that was it. You know what happened to me? I got bullied for a full year, and it turned me into if somebody tried to bully me, I'll show up at your house and kill you. That's what happens. I get so angry.
I'm not buying that even
when he talks
remotely.
like that. I hate when.
Hey,
that's
bro,
not true.
You bully me.
If I
you try bullying me right now, motherfucker.
You know what the problem is?
Hold on, let me handle this.
Here's the problem. You've talked to too many guys that let you say shit like that, and then it becomes like vernacular. It becomes like a part of the way you talk.
This is what I do. Brian, look at me.
Look at me. People that I know.
Hold on, he's got something to say. No, do you remember that when I was going to go?
How long ago?
I was going.
How long ago?
I was about to. It was a long time ago.
5 years ago.
Yeah, more. And I was about to go like this. I was about to go. Yeah, and I was going to go. And I'll tell you something else. You come at me. You better come at me correct. I was going to joke around with you.
Yeah.
And he thought I was being tough.
When I first met you, all those people you used to hang around with, those are all toxic, and they've ruined the way you're allowed to communicate with people.
No, it's true.
Because they said stupid shit, and then you said stupid shit.
for me, bro. Look at how what do you have to say to me?
Bro, I watched a scary movie with him.
Bro, I have to shut this podcast
not yet. Not yet. We have to hold on.
I watched a scary movie with him, and it was the most annoying thing ever.
Tell you what,
He goes, I wish a demon would grab me, man. You know what I would do?
So now it says Joe Rogan straightens out tough guy Brian Callen. I saw that and I was like,
that's good.
I was like, hey, I was doing a bit, but I got stopped in the middle of it, and it sounded like I was trying to be tough.
That does make way more sense because I remember watching like one of these little YouTube commentary videos talking about it, and I'm just thinking in my head, like, what the f is Brian doing? Like, you're in a room full of fucking MMA fighters and you're talking like you're a god.
Right.
And I was just like, that is weird. Like,
of course it's weird. I would never do that.
That does make a lot more sense.
Yeah, I was literally about to go into a bit, and I didn't even realize that was
sometimes you will do that.
No.
I'd have to
I would
see
never
it.
do that because I was literally I was cutting you off, and I was saying something about
To
how I was
fuck
going to
with me or
beat you
something?
up.
Yeah.
You bully me, bro. I don't give a shit about your UFC bullshit. I will come right at you.
I could pin you on the ground right now and put my in your mouth.
You could
for
try.
no reason.
You could try, and guess what?
Just because it's the nice
Guess
Saturday.
what? I would come right to your house. Bang, bang,
it's
bang.
ridiculous.
You'd be dead.
Joe.
Would I?
Yep.
He needs friends like us because he gets around saying that with guys who don't know.
I can't wait to
hangs
box
around
today.
with
I can't
a
wait.
lot of idiots.
He started telling me how that I was around toxic people, and I was like, "Oh, geez, this is." I was like,
went south.
I know. I was like, I don't feel good right now.
Brian Callen is the same age as Joe Rogan, except he hasn't achieved anything. He appeared as a side act in a few TV shows and movies, but now he's Brendan Schaub's sidekick on the Fighter and the Kid podcast. Yeah, that's right, it's still going. He also makes regular appearances on Joe Rogan's Fight Companion podcasts, except he has no fighting experience and he isn't funny. Similar to Bert Kreischer, it seems like the sole reason he goes on JRE is to annoy Rogan. I'd tell you a funny story about Brian Callen, except I don't have any. In July of 2020, the LA Times reported that 4 women had made claims of inappropriate behavior and misconduct from Callen, both physical and verbal. However, Callen vehemently denied the accusations, calling them horrific and false. To my knowledge, the claims have never been proven to the appropriate legal standard, and he has never been charged with a crime. However, he actually filed a lawsuit against one of the accusers and her husband, but in January of 2021, the judge ruled in favor of the couple, stating that he did not meet his burden of demonstrating a probability of prevailing on his claim. Here's something for you though. If you go to Brian's website and click on the specials section, you can see all 4 of his comedy specials, complete with links to watch on YouTube, as well as a quote next to each one. That's right, Brian Callen has never sold any of his specials to a streamer. As his Wikipedia page says, they were all released online. But back to his website, next to his 2019 online special called Complicated Apes, the quote reads, "The fact that this wasn't on Netflix is crazy. One if the most majestic performances of his lifetime." Definitely agree. One if the best for sure. Don't forget though, Brian's a triple threat. Podcast host, actor, stand-up comedian. In the About section on his website, part of his bio reads, in addition to co-hosting The Fighter and the Kid, a top iTunes podcast, Callen is known for being a regular guest on other popular podcasts like The Joe Rogan Experience and Fight Companion. Fans of comedian Brian Callen have rapidly taken an interest in his latest project, a solo podcast titled The Brian Callen Show, and of course the diehard fans of 10-Minute Podcast still listen to Brian, Chris D'Elia and Will Sasso trade stories, jokes and jabs every chance they get. Wow. So let's take a look at the rapid interest in Brian's solo podcast. After fumbling around his website, clicking on links that took me to the wrong podcast, seriously bro, you gotta sort your website out, I finally found myself on his Off Limits playlist on YouTube. And he wasn't kidding, it's so off limits that most of his episodes fail to break 5,000 to 10,000 views. By the way, now that I'm here, quick tip for you Brian, when you upload a video then unlist, re-edit and upload it again, make sure you remove it from your playlists, otherwise everyone can still watch it. You know, just in case you were trying to hide something. Whoops. And speaking of whoops, we're finally at the #1 spot on Katt Williams' Rogan Six. He calls himself a business shark, but we all call him a redact. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a numbers guy, the one, the lonely, Brendan Schaub.
This is the reality of it. I worry about your commitment to fighting, and I worry about where you stand, not your commitment to training. Not your commitment to training, not your commitment to give it your all. I think you have one foot out the door. I think you're looking. You disagree? I think you're looking at where the future is going to take you, and that you can't do this forever. You know, and I think that's a very dangerous place to be in fighting. And I've seen it with a lot of guys. They in the early in their career, they're invulnerable. They're beasts. They're monsters. They're 100% focused. Fighting becomes their life. It becomes their everything. And then somewhere along the line, they start thinking, how long can I do this? When's the out time? What's my exit strategy?
Dana White hates me. For no reason. I did nothing, dude. How dare you? For those of you that don't know, he called me a f***ing dummy. And I'm 39 years old. I can't just lay down like, you're right. Like, you can't do that, dude. It's not nice. Why would you get so upset? If my theory on UFC 279 is so outlandish, why so mad, bro?
What was said was that there was a guy, he was unfunny. I came back with, oh, that's a big clue. And that's something about a peach emoji. And then...
But my thing with that, Clyde, do you think that's nice?
Oh, no. But I didn't say your name.
After failing to secure a spot on an NFL roster, Brendan Big Brown Schaub stumbled his way into the UFC, only to stumble his way out several years later with a record of 10-5, having lost 4 of his last 6 fights. Concerned about Brendan's lack of commitment to training and fighting, Joe Rogan infamously convinced Brendan that he wasn't cut out for the fighting game live on a podcast, citing his need to protect his brain from any long-term brain damage. However, while Rogan saved Brendan from further embarrassment in the octagon, he soon realized that he'd solved one problem and created several more. Under the guidance of Joe Rogan and Brian Callen, Brendan then pursued a career in podcasting and stand-up comedy, both of which he continues to this day. Now, the best part of his story is how Rogan convinced him to move out of fighting and into podcasting and comedy, but still refuses to let him perform at his own comedy club in Austin, Texas. So let's just break this down for a moment, because this is exactly what Katt Williams was talking about. Rogan non-stop pushed Schaub into our faces for years, encouraged him to work on his craft and improve his skills, yet almost 10 years later, he still refuses to listen to Brendan stand up himself. It's okay for us to have to listen to him, but not for Rogan, the very man who started this mess. Just thinking about that gives me CTE. Now look, clearly I've been having a laugh and roasting these guys, but I want to make a few serious comments in conclusion. I spoke about the Joe Rogan effect and the Rogan bump in my previous video about Katt Williams, which you can go and check out. I'll drop a link in the description for you, but I think some of you may have misunderstood me. JRE is Rogan's podcast. He can have whoever he likes on there, and he should be free to do whatever he likes as long as he doesn't break the law, just like the rest of us. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. The corollary to that is all of us are entitled to have an opinion and criticize his decisions. Now, this is where the whole Katt Williams controversy and the Rogan effect and all of that come together. Nobody understands the power and reach of JRE better than Joe Rogan himself. He is in the thick of it, making programming, scheduling decisions, sponsorship and commercial decisions, all that production side stuff. When Rogan decides to help out one of his friends and push their name out there, I understand that he's just being a good friend and trying to do something good with his power and influence. Fine. But with all that inside knowledge that he has, what I think he's doing is irresponsible. Not to us, because like I said, we get to pick and choose what we want to listen to. That's not the problem. But it's irresponsible to his friends. That's the part of this conversation that I think people have been missing. Someone commented on my previous video that what Rogan is doing is like winning the lottery and then giving away millions of dollars to friends and family. You guys have all heard the stories. It almost never ends well. And a lot of these people actually end up in jail. Now, this isn't that serious, but I still think it's an interesting analogy because what we're seeing now, and it's something I've been documenting here on this channel with my regulars, is that most of these brogans have started to fall off. Now, all of these guys are wealthy millionaires with property investments and share portfolios and all of that. Good luck to them. They've earned their money and hopefully they've invested it well. However, when you start to build a machine around your newfound wealth and fame, like almost all these guys have done, once it starts to crumble, you're actually hurting the people that have become part of that machine. That's why you see these guys with their open therapy sessions on podcasts, crying about the strangest things, endlessly sharing too much information with their fans. All of this started with Rogan trying to do something good for his friends, and I have no doubt that he finds all these guys funny. Sure he does. I'm not saying he's lying to them, but presumably he has the experience and awareness to know that anything he promotes over and over and over again for years is eventually going to lead to fame and fortune. And to assume that just because his friends are grateful for the exposure somehow means they'll be able to handle it? I mean, let me give you an example. Remember the time Whitney Cummings brought up that Netflix show, The Most Hated Man on the Internet, and Rogan straight away implied that it could be Brendan Schaub, and they both cracked up laughing?
Have you seen this documentary, The Most Hated Man on the Internet?
No.
Did you hear?
Who is the most hated man on the internet?
His name is Hunter Moore. I don't
Brendan
know.
Schaub just went like this. Oh. Whew.
I remember this guy.
I don't even want to get caught in these crosshairs. I don't even want to be close to this. Damn it. There wasn't. I literally.
Whew, that was close.
Now, I think that is one of the funniest moments in JRE history. But there's also a kind of serious side to it, right? For Rogan to say that and crack up laughing at one of his best friends, that has to be one of the most arrogant things he's ever done. We all know that would have absolutely crushed Brendan, especially coming from one of his biggest mentors. And let me just repeat, I cannot watch that clip without laughing. It's absolutely brilliant. Just thinking about it makes me laugh. But Rogan was the one who encouraged him and basically dragged him into a life that he clearly wasn't built for, and everyone could see it. Guys like Shane Gillis, Mark Norman, Tim Dillon, and also Tom Segura, I think Tom's a really smart guy deep down and he'll figure his way out of all of this and land on his feet. I've said this before, I really want to like Tom. All the other guys on this list I couldn't care less about, but I can definitely see myself coming around on Tom and becoming a fan again. So let's wait and see if that happens. Anyway, sorry, back to what I was saying. Guys like Gillis, Norman, Dillon, and there are probably a couple of others, they're gonna be fine. I don't think Katt was referring to those guys, even though they've benefited from the Rogan bump. In my opinion, they would have found fame and fortune anyway, because their audience doesn't fall completely under the Rogan universe. For example, there are people who love Shane and Mark, but don't listen to JRE and don't think Rogan's funny. But for guys like Bird and Schaub, I think most of their audience tips over into Rogan's audience. So I just wanted to clear that up because most of this video was tongue-in-cheek humor. Clearly it was all just a bit of fun, but I also know that a lot of you like my more serious breakdowns and opinions on these issues. Anyway, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and if you haven't subscribed yet, consider jumping on board so you get all my uploads right there in your feed. Shout out to all my regulars. Love you guys. I'll catch you in the next one.
Oh yeah, gone ballistic.
That's what the moose does. The male moose, the bull.
Okay. You gotta go. Hands up, hands up.